welcome to the big one. This is the one we've all been waiting for. It is time for the centenary edition of the 24 Hours of Le Mans and our race preview for it. We're currently at the Circuit de la Sarthe on the start-finish straight, and we're coming up to something quite special. We're about to have our 62 car photo with every single car that will be competing this weekend. We're going to be diving in and out as we tell you everything you need to know ahead of this huge race weekend. I'm joined by WEC expert Sam Smith, and Sam, I could go on all day about how much excitement there is here, how much history there is, but I'm going to let you do it instead.
Well, I've been coming here for nearly 25 years, and I don't remember the level of anticipation that's centred around this race. It's the race of the century so far. It's the 100th anniversary race, the centenary race. We've got a grid packed full of quality from top to bottom, and anyone can win it. Anyone can win either class. So I think, in terms of where this stands in motorsport, whether you're a casual fan or if you're a real committed Le Mans aficionado, this one's unmissable.
Well, we're not going to go car by car because obviously we have 62 of them to get through, but I want to pick out some of the highlights from this weekend, and where better to start than, of course, our hypercars, our top category of car here at Le Mans. We have things like Ferrari, we have Porsche, we have Cadillac, but I want to start off by talking about Toyota. They're going for the 6th straight win this year. Sam, what are their chances?
Well, very good chance. I think, we talk about favourites all the time. They have to be the favourites. They've won each of the 3 previous rounds in the WEC this season. It's funny to think, isn't it, that back in 2016 and 2017 they had those heartbreaking failures and they didn't quite get the job done.
So close.
And now we're talking about them possibly doing 6 on the trot. It's not unprecedented, it's been done before, but it's a remarkable achievement from one of the WEC's original founders in terms of what they've brought to the championship. They still must stand as the favourites because operationally they get the job done and they know this place intimately. They know it inside out. So I think they have to start as favourites, but it's going to be interesting in qualifying to see who's got the 1 lap pace.
But actually, I'm looking for a Ferrari to make my segue, and there we have one, because let's talk a little bit about Ferrari in the hypercar class. They've snatched a few pole positions this season. If not them, then who else could be challenging Toyota this weekend?
I think you've got to look to Ferrari as the main challengers. I mean, going back to the test day a few days ago, they evidence that they aren't far away in terms of ultimate 1 lap pace, and actually they beat everybody. Antonio Giovinazzi set the best time. I think the big question is, over a 24-hour period, we've not seen what they can do. The closest was at Sebring, of course.
Huge
and they did a great job at Sebring, and they've had a really strong start. I think a lot is going to depend on just that consistency within the pit stops and just working the strategy of the race. How many safety cars are we going to have? We've got a new pass-around system for the operational running of the race this year. That could have a say in some aspects of it. But I think overall, the feel-good story of Ferrari now, it's kind of gone on to the next level. We know what it means to Le Mans. The history they've got, it's actually 60 years ago since they won their 7th Le Mans here with the 250p. Yeah, and they've got such a rich heritage at this race. And there's going to be big swathes of red and prancing horse flags in these grandstands.
We've already got a few little signs popping up here and
already,
there. Yeah.
So, it's just a huge story for motorsport in general. Can they do it their first attempt? It's a big ask, especially when Toyota have done the previous 5. But let's see. I've got a feeling they're going to run Toyota pretty close, and hopefully we're going to get a really close battle between the 2.
Well, the last time a Toyota didn't win the overall at Le Mans, of course it was Porsche, and they're back this year. It's not been the easiest start to them here in the WEC, but what do you think we could see from them this weekend?
Well, it was evident at the test day that they've made improvements. They've done a lot of testing. They've got a bit of extra weight, but they're going to actually, I think, show a bit more of what that Porsche Le Mans ratio magic. They go for a 20th win. I mean, what a story it would be. If they did 20, it would be absolutely incredible. I've got a feeling that they'll be there or thereabouts. They've had some reliability issues in previous races, but if they can get on top of that and they can just get that sort of Porsche steamroller monotony sort of just going, you get the feeling at Le Mans that they can actually just get into their groove much more than they have done in some of the shorter races. And if they do that, then there's every chance that they can get at least a podium and maybe even make it a three-way manufacturer battle for the outright win.
Well, speaking of podiums, what about some interesting cameos for our podium this weekend? There's always some surprises that are thrown up at Le Mans.
Yeah, there are. I mean, there's a big question mark over the weather, first of all. It looked like it was going to bake, as it is doing here earlier in the week. But I think actually, if there is rain, it could, obviously it's going to throw the race wide open, but Toyota have got so much experience in terms of what they do in the changeable conditions. We saw it at Spa, didn't we? Mike Conway driving that absolutely stupendous opening hour. Who else? I mean, Cadillac have been solid this season. I think they're slightly on the back foot coming here. The test day, they were the fourth quickest manufacturer. Peugeot, they've got to, I think, look at getting a finish. I don't think they've quite got the overall package to make it happen. But like you say, Le Mans, you just never know. Anything can happen, usually does, and you wouldn't put it beyond Peugeot to sneak a podium if the conditions are right. And then of course you've got the non-hybrid cars, the Glickenhaus and the Van Wall, and I think that's going to be quite interesting how they get on here this weekend. I think the Glickenhaus has proven here it's got a finish, it got a podium last season, so there's no reason why, if there's a few that fall off, Glickenhaus can't pick up the pieces.
Well, you mentioned Cadillac there, and also they brought a third car this weekend. They've had some success in the States. Can you tell us a little bit about the Action Express mobile that we've received?
Yeah, I mean, a famous car, famous livery. They've achieved so much in the IMSA, WeatherTech IMSA Championship. They've got multiple Sebring winners in Pipo Derani, and of course they've got Jack Aitken, who's a real young up-and-coming driver who did such a good job on his debut as a rookie here at Le Mans last season. And you got Alexander Sims, who can forget that heartbreak last year when he got turfed off at Mulsanne. So yeah, he's had a few favours, I think. So yeah. One to watch. But I expect the Ganassi run Cadillacs to have the edge over the Action Express, but over the duration of a race, who knows?
And let's move on to LMP2, our second fastest class of car here at Le Mans. The prototypes, obviously, it's always drama filled in LMP2, isn't it? And who knows what to expect going into this weekend. Perhaps JOTA could repeat their success from last year? Yeah, I mean, I think you've got to look at it as a kind of two-structured thing, two-tiered thing in LMP2. We've got what you call maybe the grandees of LMP2. So you've got JOTA, WRT, United Autosports. I mean, the 23 car has just seemed absolutely on it this season. Tom Blomqvist was exceptional well-oiled
in Spa. They did such a great job. I think United Autosports probably start as slight favourites, but there's nothing much between those three teams. So Prema can join the party. So that's going to be interesting. Of course, when we talk about Prema, we talk about Doriane Pirne, who we've noticed been one of the fan favourites in the autograph sessions already.
Definitely, she can't escape from the fans this weekend, bless her.
And quite right too. She's done a great job. It's her Le Mans debut, though. Remember, so is it a bit too much to ask that she can help that team challenge for victory? I don't know. Let's see. But I've got a feeling that she's obviously up for it, and she's surprised many people with what she's achieved so far this season.
Well, something else we should definitely talk about is the additional ELMS entries that this weekend brings. Can you give us a little bit of insight into what we can expect from these extra cars?
Yeah, I think we can expect quite a lot. I mean, if I was to cherry pick one of those entries, it would probably be the Cool Racing number 37 car. Nicolas Lapierre is the player manager there. He runs the show and he also drives. Four-time Le Mans winner in LMP2.
Man knows what he's doing.
And a WEC champion as well. So he has got tremendous breadth of experience. Nicholas Quiney is the other driver in there, and Malte Jakobsen, who's this superstar kid that seems to have come from nowhere, achieved so much in European Le Mans Series, and now he's got a big part of the Peugeot program as well for the future. So he's a young driver now who Peugeot are looking at. I think they could spring a major surprise, and they've already proved that they're quite quick on the test day.
Well, let's carry on talking about LMGTE Am, because up until now, Corvette Racing have arguably been pretty dominant in that class, but Le Mans always throws up some surprises. We have additional entries this weekend. Who should we be keeping an eye out for?
Well, it's a prime time, isn't it, for somebody to challenge Corvette Racing. They've had such a great start to the season. They've got a big points buffer in the LMGTE Am class. Somebody's got to really get them by the...
There's offer this weekend.
There's extra points, so it's the perfect time for somebody to challenge them. Who will that be? I've got a funny feeling that a Ferrari could do really well. We've seen during the test day that the quickest car was the LMS car.
JMW Motorsports?
JMW, who have won the race before back in 2017. Will Stevens was one of the drivers there. They did a great job that year. Can they challenge for victory? Well, they've got the experience, they've got the speed, so why not? I think other ones to look out for, Aston Martin. I think the Omani TF Sport car could be really one to look out for. But I've just got a feeling the Ferraris are going to be tough to beat this weekend. So it's just a question of which one. And of course the Richard Mille AF Corsa car, which won at Spa, you know, can Lilou Adu, Alessio Rivera and Luis Perez Compact do the double? I mean, it's if they do, they're right back into the title hunt.
So how about we chat about Corvette racing? Ben Keating obviously won here at Le Mans last year, but with TF Sport, now in Corvette, settling into his new family. As we mentioned, pretty dominant so far. What does he need to do in order to make it work?
Well, it's a bit more complicated than cut and paste, isn't it, at Le Mans? I mean, you can use that experience. I mean, he knows now how to win a race at Le Mans, a class at Le Mans, and what a great job they did last year with TF Sport. He's in a very different technical prospects this season, but so far he's just carried on that momentum of being a colossus in the category as a bronze driver. So it wouldn't surprise me if they're right at the front challenging again, and ditto the Iron Dames. You know, we've referenced them before. They've got some momentum. It's their second Le Mans, I think, for most of them. They're going to be there or thereabouts, but again, it's a bit like LMP2. You've probably got at least 6 or 7 cars that are genuine challengers for the victory come Sunday, 4 o'clock.
How exciting. And before we move on to something a little bit special I want to talk about in a second, I need your predictions, Sam. Come on, you know I need them. Winner in each class. Who are you saying? And I'm going to hold you to it.
Well, do you know what? I believe in fairy tales. Call me an old romantic, but I'm going to predict that Ferrari are going to do what they were probably only dreaming about 6 months ago, which is to win Le Mans at their first attempt. They're going to need absolutely everything in the pits, the operations, you know, those strokes of luck that you need at Le Mans. It's now a complete sprint. The old days of getting to 4 a.m. and then get these landmarks of 11 and lunchtime and see how it goes, they're over. Every lap counts, every pit stop counts, every fine detail. If they can get that and cycle through those difficult hours and they maximise whatever bad weather, because it's predicted, then they've got a real chance of winning on their debut with this fabulous 499p.
And LMP2 and LMGTE Am, very quickly.
I was hoping you'd forget about those ones.
I never would.
Do you know what? We've not mentioned JOTA's Porsche in Hypercar, because that's a dark horse, of course. I mean, they were terrific at the test day, and out the box it's been quick. But I think the big story could be a potential double with Pietro Fittipaldi. He was quickest in the test day. David Heimeyer Hansen's got plenty of experience here. So they could be a real factor in the race come Sunday afternoon. However, I've just got a feeling that there could be an even more romantic story in Robert Kubica potentially winning it and putting that ghost to rest of 2021, when unfathomably on the penultimate lap FIA stopped just after Tertre Rouge and the heartbreak that played out there. So that would be a great story if Kubica and his team can actually win the thing this time.
So I've stopped here for a reason, as if by magic.
What's the NASCAR doing here? Le Mans?
What's a NASCAR doing at Le Mans? I don't know. Maybe you could tell me a little bit about why there's a NASCAR at Le Mans, Sam.
It's incredible. I mean, just look at it.
What a beast.
An absolute beast. A new generation of NASCARs coming. This has been reasonably heavily modified. Carbon brakes, a lot of weight taken out of the car. It's got a paddle shift gearbox now. But more intriguingly for me is just this Garage 56 innovation category.
It's really exciting.
It's just, you know, we've seen the Zaod, the Nissan Zaod before, we've seen the Delta Wing, we've seen these incredible packages come to the fore. And yet this is a different proposition, obviously, but a NASCAR at Le Mans, who'd have thought it? But actually, there is precedent for it. 1976, Bill France brought 2 NASCARs over. So it's kind of repeating a story from, what's that? Oh, I should know, because it's a year after my birth. 18 years ago, Alexa. No.
You youngin'.
47 years ago, 2 NASCARs were here. But even more interesting and even more exciting is the fact you've got an ex-Formula 1 champion in Jenson Button. You've got Mike Rockenfeller, who won here in 2010. And you've got Jimmy Johnson, a genuine all-American legend who's so well decorated in NASCAR. And yeah, and he recently raced in IndyCar. I mean, what a career he's having later on in his career.
Yeah.
So yeah, one to watch. It's going to be a crowd favourite. There's dozens of crowd favourites here. You know, we're going to see a Jurassic LMGTE Am car with Rexy as well.
Love
with
Rexy.
The Project One AO Motorsport guys, which have brought this wonderful livery.
How much fun is that?
Yeah, it's going to capture the imagination of anyone under the age of sort of 12, I think.
And anyone over it, quite frankly.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, why not? I mean, it's just a wonderful, wonderful livery to have here. There's just so much variety, so much breadth in this grid. Yeah, I mean, you know, all these cars are going to be roaring into that corner up there at about 30 seconds past 4 o'clock on Saturday afternoon. There's going to be 300,000 people that are going to attend this event. It's almost unprecedented. I mean, I mentioned 1999 to you before. You know, that for me, it was my first Le Mans, and there was so many great manufacturers here. It was kind of, yeah, we'll never see that again. We're seeing it here now, and not only that, we're seeing it in the centenary year of the greatest race on earth. I mean, it's just got every kind of perfect scriptic that you could have. You know, every part of this major race is just so mouthwatering. I can't wait for it.
And I think that is the perfect time to wrap things up. So that concludes our preview here at the 24 Hours of Le Mans. Like Sam said, there is so much to look forward to with all of these cars. Make sure you're following along on the WEC app. We're going to have everything that you need to watch along with there. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you post-race for our race debrief.